Corey, that clock's wrong, right?
In the opposite direction, too.
So we just rent this area. Across that wall, then we're in charge of those clocks, not these. All right, guys, just injuries for today. Debo will be limited. Everyone else is the same. Go ahead.
I guess that means Devo's shoulder is feeling a little bit better.
Enough to be limited.
We've seen how you handled the final minutes of the first half. I guess two questions. One is, do you ever feel that anxiety that people in the stands feel when the clock is ticking? And how long did it take for you to kind of arrive at that's the way you want to handle the end of first half situations?
Just going through it all and trying in 19 and seeing our success with it match up with the 20 years of stats we got before that.
On Saturday, did you handle it the way you wanted to, or did a little bit too much time go off the clock?
No, we handled it the way we wanted to. We ended up kicking it on fourth down, didn't we? That's right?
You had a spike and then a throwaway before that.
Right. It has, when you're thinking about that, it's not times, it's downs. And so the plays would have been the same. On the second down before that, we tried to get an explosive, and then you check it down, and then it goes to 3rd and 2. And then now if we would have not saved any time, it would have been 3rd and 2 in the same situation with about, I can't remember exactly, but I want to guess 40 seconds. And now everything's down to that 3rd and 2. And now if you don't get that 3rd and 2, now the other team has the ball back with 40 seconds and 3 timeouts. And now it's a totally different game. At that time, we're up 7-6. Worst case scenario, I feel we're going into halftime up 7-6. I'd like it to be second worst case scenario, 10-6. No one will make the field goal. We're starting with the ball in the third quarter so we could have a chance to lap them. I still believe if we get the right look, which we almost did. The mic was just a little bit too deep. Now we're inside the 10, and we have 2 shots at the end zone where you have a chance to go up 14-6, get the ball first in the third quarter, and now you're up 21-6, and the game has completely been changed for that reason. Now we didn't get that. They didn't give us the big shot, so now we came to a 3rd and 2. Well, at least that whole half wasn't on the line on the 3rd and 2. We knew exactly what we had. We still went for it, but we didn't get it, and now we can kick our field goal, and they're never going to touch the ball again. So those are the stats. It took me a while to believe it, just like all you guys, obviously. But there's too much history with it. There's too much time, and I believe that really helps us have a good record.
Brock Purdy said he was a little overly aggressive against the Packers, that there were checkdowns he could have hit that he would have liked to hit. Is that something you've been talking to him about? Just hit the check.
Something I talk to every quarterback out every single day I've ever coached. So it's crazy how many questions we're getting about every one of Brock's decisions, but I'm starting to realize it because I get previewed before all this. And sometimes when quarterbacks make bad decisions, forcing it deep, they should check it down. Sometimes when they check it down and a guy hits the guy right away, they're like, damn, I had that over the top. Brock's as good as any quarterback I've had at making those decisions. Does not mean he's perfect. Try to find me that guy.
Is there a moment in a game this year or in practice where you see Trent Williams moving in space and just sort of marvel at how a guy that size has feet moves like he does?
Almost every day except for walkthrough. He refuses to bend his knees and walk through. It's more to mess with me. You should have seen his workout last week. I mean, after having a week off and him just being in there deadlift and doing box jumps and stuff, and you would have thought he was 24-year-old specimen. Said he's 35-year-old specimen, so I'm sure he'll be a 40-year-old specimen too. So Trent's the man.
You guys have now been through this for the last several years. Does it feel like any other week, or is the magnitude of the game there still a little bit?
It feels like the playoffs. The playoffs always feel different. Just everyone is so alert. Everyone's so on it. Everyone's so patient outside of here in terms of, at least for me, sleep at the office if you need to. Don't worry. You make sure you get it right. And I'm sure the players are the same. Everyone just knows it's it if you don't win. So I'd like to say you focus as hard as you can every week, but when you get to these situations, it's a little bit different, and it makes it a lot more fun.
Last year, guys said that one of the hardest parts of swallowing that loss was how hard it is to climb the mountain again. You can't just snap your fingers. How hard is it, Kyle, to get back to this point year in and year out?
It's very hard. It's when you go into January every year to February. I don't even know what the date is. I think it's getting close to February. It's just long, and but you always feel after. Whether you lose an NFC championship, whether you lose a Super Bowl, I mean, ask anybody, whether it's one of them, whether it's two of them. I mean, after that, it's like, oh my God, that took so much and was so long to get there. How can you ever do that again? And that's why you go through your own little depression for a day, a week, a couple months, whatever it is. Usually by the time March hits, though, and you're starting to look at free agency, you're starting to look at the draft, you're starting to look at your board of what your team is now, how you can improve it to the next season. You always get right back there if you like what you do. But you definitely need a break after it. Everybody does, because it's hard to do it at that high of a level, just mentally and physically for the guys for this long of a time.
What does it say about your team that you have a group of guys that have been able to do it so many times in the last 5 years?
I mean, that's what I like about our guys the most. Football is very important to them. I mean, when we were a lot younger in 19 when we did it, and we were second pick in the draft with a 4-12 team to all of a sudden 13-3 and going there. So it was more, you didn't really know. You didn't know what type of year it was going to be, and you kind of just fell into it. And then you come back and you think about all that stuff the next year and the next year during that COVID year, and all those guys we lost up in New York and losing our quarterback and Nick and a number of people. It ended so fast, and then the COVID stuff was so weird. But then you get to the next off season, and guys just now they know how bad a season sucks when you don't do good, and how much more fun it is when you are in that and you're playing for games at the end of playoffs. And that's what I think we learned in both of those 2 years. And we not snuck in, but we earned to get in at that last game in 2021. And then made a run to get to the championship. And last year we went on a big win streak to get, I forget what seed we were, but guys start to get used to how hard it is to get there, how important it is to get there. And that's why I think our veterans have been different a little bit in the offseason. Not necessarily just we're going to work harder or do this or that, but it's just a little bit more deliberate in everything you do. It's not about just being ready for training camp. It's not about just winning a job. It's about how to do this as a team. We got a lot of good individuals, but I feel like we've thought as a team a lot since 19.
The against Green Bay on the 39-yard touchdown run by McCaffrey, it looked like Warner might have been on the wrong side of the formation, and Mike's picked up Brock saying, stay there, stay there. What was going on that play? Was he on the wrong side of the formation? Was that a heads-up play by Purdy?
No, we changed plays. We balanced it out on which way we were going to run, and then he was supposed to flip then motion, and we were just too late in the count. So Brock, instead of having him flip then motion, he just took the motion off and left him there because we were low on the play clock. It was an awesome job. We would have had to delay a game, or if he would have just sent that, we would have had to snap and it had no one blocked. So it was him having good awareness of what everyone's doing on a run play.
With Brock missing those checkdowns early, but then self-correcting in the fourth quarter on the final drive, does that encourage you that he left that behind and going into this game?
No, it's different. I mean, on the 3rd and 10 on the last drive, I'd say it should have probably been a check down on that unbelievable throw he threw way over. I forget who it was, and Juwan came in out of nowhere and caught it. I thought that was a check down until Juwan caught it. So it's playing the game. You judge everything, but you got to try to play the game and you got to try to win. And if it's just automatic all the time, they're deep, check down, they're tight, throw it deep. That's how it should work out. But you're in a pocket and you're playing a sport. You're not reviewing it like a coach with a film after, and you're not just asking questions based off of stuff. He's got to play, and that's why. On the last drive he did some good on that, but it wasn't just as consistent as the questions.
We'll take two more. Kate?
What did you think seeing both Christian and Brock named MVP finalists?
That's what they deserve, the way they played all year, the way they played last year. Both of them at their positions as good as anybody at quarterback and running back I've been around. Also watched football for a long time, and there's a lot of good players in this league, so it sucks that one person's got to get all those awards, but those guys are right there with those other guys.
How important is the 12th man going to be on Sunday?
What's that?
The 12th man, how important is the 12th man going to be on Sunday?
We don't call him the 12th man here. But our crowd's very important. Our crowd, I think, is the best in football. They travel extremely well. They don't have to travel this week. I hear the Lions fans traveled pretty well. We love having a home field advantage. Our defense more than anything. Our players coming out of the tunnel. We want to win it here. It's a huge deal. It affects everybody, and I think always in sports. Everyone likes playing at home, but in football, when it's loud, that truly is an advantage. I mean, that truly messes up what one side of the ball can do on the other team, and that's why it's very important that we're loud.
The defensive line obviously did affect Love at times, particularly late, but given the investment, the millions and millions, when you see like 0 sacks in a playoff game, you're like, guys, that's not acceptable.
No, I don't go in there and say, look at these millions, look at the 0 sacks, this isn't acceptable. I go in there and I look at how we won, how it came. No, if you got a 4-man rush and people are chipping every time and the back's staying in to help, well, which means you have 8 guys in protection, there's 1 quarterback, there's 2 guys out on a route and 7 guys in coverage, probably not going to give any sacks, but I don't think you're going to give any points either. So there's a balance out to it. Yeah, we want more sacks, definitely, but how are guys going to play us? How are we going to do it? And I liked how our D-line played. All right, guys.
Good afternoon. I guess it's still morning. Good morning. We got off to a great start this week. I thought practice yesterday was great. Still a lot of work to do, of course, as we progress and move towards Sunday's game against Detroit. Good football team, extremely well coached. Offensive coordinator is very creative in the way he moves the ball around and try to get it to the talent that they have on that team. Speaking of the talent, I think everything starts up front. Offensive line is doing a tremendous job. I know one of the guards are out this week, but that's not going to really matter. They do a great job running the ball. I think Montgomery and Gibbs, 1-2 combination is probably the best we've seen all year. Different style of runners, but they're both are effective in what they do. Everything goes through Goff. I think he does a tremendous job in really putting the ball where it needs to be. We got to do a great job of really trying to take away this run game to limit the vertical passing game down the field. St. Brown is playing at a high level. You got Reynolds, you got Williams. They got so many weapons. And they talk about Laporta had a hyperextended knee. I don't see it on tape. So he's getting in and out of his breaks. He's catching the ball and getting vertical up the field. So it's going to be a difficult task for us, but we're definitely going to be up for it. And with that, I'll take your questions.
As far as the run defense, how did Chase Young do in that Cleveland Farrell role on Saturday?
I think Chase did some good things on Saturday. We all need to improve. So definitely some improvement that needs to be made across the board. But I thought he stepped in and did well. Did some good things in the run game. We didn't have any sacks, but I thought he was very effective in trying to, rush the passer, put some pressure on the quarterback. So I was pleased.
You both said yesterday you felt like one of the emphasis this week is doing better containing the edges. What did you see that maybe wasn't going as well as you wanted?
It's not so much. Well, let me say this. Yeah, we got to do a much better job containing the edges. And it's not really the defensive ends. It's the second level. We're getting too wide where we got to get vertical. And that's the key thing. We had a point of emphasis with that as we watched tape this week. And most importantly, the same thing in practice yesterday and really work on perimeter run game and doing the things we got to do to make sure we set edges on the defense.
How explosive is Jahmyr Gibbs and what's the key to containing him?
I don't know if you can contain him. We got to do a great job swarming the ball, and he's phenomenal. He's 4.3 on paper. He's 4.3 on tape. He plays to that speed. Again, they do a great job getting him out in space, trying to create one-on-ones with the backers. Great job on third down, and he can run in between the tackles, and he's most explosively taking the ball outside. So. Definitely someone we got to definitely rally to. And as I said before, to the defense, we got to swarm tackle this Sunday in order to stop this run game.
Bryant struggled against the run. It looked like on a couple plays, the Jones run, he barely got a hand on him. Are we going to see more Jair Brown this week at safety, or are you going to stay with Ryan?
I would say overall we all got to improve on the run. I know we point out Logan. He got to improve on his tackling, as we know. He's going to get better with that. Jair still in the mix. We'll see exactly how it goes this week and exactly how much he's going to play, if he will start or whatnot. We don't know. That's still an ongoing process right now.
Yesterday, Ambry Thomas said that his play was probably part of not getting enough reps, being out with his hand injury. How confident are you going forward with him?
Very confident. You know, he didn't have his best game, as we all saw. He's pretty resilient in his demeanor, and I know he's going to bounce back strong. Again, we got to be able to get over the mindset of his wrist, and he got to go out there and play. But I'm very confident that he's going to go back out there and respond this week.
You mentioned the 0 sacks. What was your assessment of the overall pass rush pressure? How you affected Love?
I thought we affected the passer. We didn't have the results we wanted from a standpoint of sacks. If you look at it, he got rid of the ball quickly in their quick game. He does a great job of really hitting that back foot. I'm talking Love now, and just getting rid of the ball. Golf does the same thing. So we got to do a good job really getting our hands up when we can't get there, and we got to find different ways to get to him, which we will.
Impacted the defense or changed what you've been able to do the last half?
All-pro player. I mean, a guy that's a leader of this team, not just the secondary. So he's definitely missed, and you're going to see a little bit of that, particularly when you don't have the performance in the play that you want, as you guys mentioned on a couple of plays. So you're going to reference Huff, but we miss him. He's not here. Other guys got to step up.
Reflect over the past year since your first conversations with this team. What would you say with your relationship with Coach Shanahan that you've learned from him, and what do you think he's learned from you?
I can't tell you what he's learned from me. You have to ask him that question. But we learned a lot from him. He does a great job in really painting a picture at the beginning of the week and what it needs to look like with the team. And create a summary on Friday going around the league in certain, we call situational football, and just making the guys high aware of certain things that have gone on and things that we need to be prepared for. And then he wraps it up Saturday night before the game. So I think he's on point. He has a great pulse of the team. I think his messages are on point in things that he talks about. The structure of practice, whether we need to cut reps, take the pads off, keep the pads on, all those things. I think he's just learned from previous experience. He's been around his whole life with his dad, so a lot of things I've learned from him.
Lenore, what strikes you about his confidence this relatively early in his career and his ability to improve week after week?
Just that, man. He's just a confident individual, and I think it just goes with preparation. I think he has put a lot of time and effort into his craft this offseason. You can see his technique has improved, which allows him to be able to go out and perform at a high level. We have a lot of confidence in him. That's the reason why, we can move him around and do the things that we do with him.
What is the biggest challenge that their pass block creates, and just how confident are you that you can beat them there and affect the quarterback this week?
I think it's not so much their protection. I think it's really their run game, which in turns affects their protection. So when their run game is going, it allows them to be able to slow us down a little bit with the play action. So we got to do a great job, as I stated before, in really trying to stop and take this run game away and make these guys one-dimensional. And that's still not going to be an easy task because Goff is a real good quarterback.
What's the biggest challenge of a guy like LaPorta? You don't see rookie tight ends always come in with the production he's at.
I think it creates, different issues. I don't want to say problems, but different issues. They put him out at number one like a receiver, overload the front side, what we call triples, putting all the receivers there, and he's very, very effective backside. They put him in a slot. They put him at 3 on what we call race routes, so they get the ball to him in different variations, and with him and St. Brown, it's definitely a difficult task. And as I stated before, Williams can take the top off at any time.
Steve, what does Womack need to do to get back on the field? You're not using him right now. He was inactive last week. He's got a lot of talent. What does he need to do?
Everybody got to improve. I'm not trying to diminish your question right here, but my focus is more broad on really the whole defense as a whole. He just got to continue to keep working, and the opportunity to come, whether it's special teams or whether it's defense. But, the 11 guys that are going to be out there, they got to step up and perform this week.
Coach, you talked about their play action game. They threw the second most passes off play action and gained the most yards off of that action. What makes it so efficient from their perspective?
Again, I think it's just the two dynamic running backs that they have. You put a lot of emphasis on trying to stop those guys, so sometimes you get a little bit more aggressive getting downhill. That's not only with the linebackers, but also in the secondary, which now exposes you to, a vertical passing game over the top. So that's something that we're going to have to try to diminish, and how you do that is trying to make them one-dimensional. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.